Hey guys, welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room podcast. My name's Liam, and of course, I'll be your host as always. Today, I'm joined by Firmino's number one fan, Mr. Tommy Lister. How we doing, fella?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. Good to be here. We missed out on last week's episode after a recording disaster.
Yeah, well, technical difficulties we'll put it down to, shall we?
Yeah,
And I
well,
mean, well, we've got
yeah,
more difficulties this week because it's just me and you, Tommy. The fact man
like the old days,
himself
like the good
is
old
not
days.
here. The good old days, yes. The golden era of the LFC Transferring podcast is returning. I saw Richie's not listening to this on his driving to work. Um, so, yeah, everyone listening, unfortunately, there will be no fact of the day from Mr. Richie, but he'll be back next week and we'll pick up again. And Tommy, you're still winning on that. So it's probably for the best that we I might just
Still
try and
won, I
phase
believe.
that segment out entirely.
Anyway,
Anyway, we're going to get on to some transfers, and the first one is a player that I am massively a fan of, Danielle Marlin. Now, it's not really a concrete link. It's sort of just like here and there, of like always being linked to, as they do when a player in the Dutch league starts to perform well, being linked to some of the bigger clubs in England. And the two names that in Europe, sorry, the two names that we're hearing from England, primarily United and of course Liverpool. Tommy, I can't imagine you watch much of the Eredivisie or Mr. Danielle Marlin.
no, it's not real football to me, I'm afraid. I struggle to watch anything outside of Liverpool at the minute. Doing that much football. I
you
watch a lot of
struggled.
Liverpool like every
You
few
said
days.
Liverpool, but Liverpool
So,
haven't been playing real football recently. I swear to
no, but I
God.
can't bring myself to watch Eredivisie after watching Liverpool after every three
Yeah,
days.
but it's so
But
entertaining.
but from that aside, jokes aside, from what I've got friends and stuff who are into like European football, and people talk about young talents, and or I think he used to play for Arsenal, didn't he? I follow some Arsenal fans
He
on
went
Twitter.
Ajax, then
Yeah, who
Arsenal,
are
and
like
then PSV
Paris,
picked
who
him
we've had
up.
on the pod before. I'm pretty sure I've
Yeah,
seen him
yeah,
tweet about Malen. Yeah, he looks like a good player. Is he quick? I believe.
yeah. He's quick.
I'm not
He's
going
a
to
little
pretend I know.
baller. I love him. Well, I don't know if you know. Have I mentioned this in the pod before? But I have I've got like friends who are from Eindhoven, so
Oh, I didn't know that. I went to a
they're like
festival in Eindhoven.
my mum's friends are from Eindhoven. So whenever she used to go over to the Netherlands to see them, they're like, oh yeah, PSV, and then so she got into PSV, and then as I've grown up, it's sort of been like a team that I've kept my eye on. So I've seen
Okay,
Danielle
cool.
Marlin here and there, um, and they've got a decent little crop of young players coming through at the moment,
Yeah,
PSV.
I've heard about that.
But Marlon's probably like the standout one, and I
Mm.
think he'd fit in pretty well with our sort of what we look for in the front three. Can play probably best suited down the middle or on the left, but he can fill in on the
Mm.
right if necessary. Um, and yeah, like you say, quick. He's getting but his finishing's improving this season a bit more, and he's still only 22 as well. So you always mention in terms of what our transfer department and our owners are looking for
Yeah,
in a transfer target. He fits the bill really, and because it's the Eredivisie, it's like that cut price sort of deal, like what
yeah,
we were
you don't have
saying
to
with
pay as
Daka.
much.
Like
They're
you're not going to
merging
pay
though,
as
aren't they, with the
much.
Belgian league?
Yeah, well, it's like rumored. I think both their TV deals or something like that
Yeah.
end like at the same year, and they're
All
looking
right.
to try and sort of merge the two after those two deals end. I think it's 2024, but I'm not 100% sure. I think that would be pretty good though. We are going massively off topic though, but I think that would be quite good
Yeah.
for those two leagues and maybe some of the players in them. Maybe get them back on Sky. I think the
Yeah.
Eredivisie used to be on Sky when I was younger, but it's not anymore. It's well upsetting. But
You are old. I have no memory of that.
yeah, I know. I'm like 4 years older than you. So insulting. But speaking of old, should we move on to our next transfer target?
Who's this?
Oh my God, I can't quite believe this one. Ezekiel Gary. We'll call him Gaz.
Yes.
Who we've been linked to bizarrely. I mean, when Virgil got injured first, and then Gomez was not long after. I was like looking at free agent centre
Oh,
backs.
I
I was
saw.
like, oh,
Yeah.
he's like the main name really out of them all. But I was like, he's about 37 or something. He's got the turn speed of a double decker bus. Like, I've seen people joking on Twitter like we're just going to sign him to make Nat Phillips look quicker.
I
But
don't know how reliable the links are and if it's a real sort of rumor or whatever, but
well, I think the place
it
I've
was
seen
one
it
like you
was
said.
I seen it from friend of the pod, Ryan Taylor, in the Express. I'm not sure if that's where it was first reported, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, sorry,
Why
what
would
were
we
you
sign
saying?
Ben Davis? You know what I mean? If we're going to sign in some, Ben Davis will surely never touch a minute of football in a Liverpool shirt.
Didn't
Maybe
Ben Woodburn score a hat trick against him like this past few days
God,
in
I didn't even
training?
think of that.
I mean, there's probably a reason he's not getting it. I'd literally just think it was like, oh look, we signed 2 centre halves like on deadline day. That was like the whole thing of like why the owners did it. But the big
More
link, he was
technical
getting links
difficult.
like Celtic, weren't it? I think he was when we signed it was like Celtic and Sheffield United were both in for him. I think we just signed him so we can ship him off for a profit end of season. Genuinely at this point. But like, yeah, Garay makes even less sense than Phillips does because I imagine Phillips is at least a bit quicker than him. If we're going to persist with this high line, why are we signing 37-year-old defenders who can't move?
Yeah,
Don't make sense to me.
and it was one of those ones that came up in around when the injuries were getting worse because he was a free agent, and I think it's an easy link to make. It's probably made up and for the good, hopefully.
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't quite understand how like back when it was first coming up as first being linked, it wasn't really, it was just like people joking on Twitter mostly. There was no like media outlets reporting on it, and now it's actually getting into newspapers and it's online and
I
actual
think
journalists
it came from
reporting
that
on it.
Barca Sports, didn't it, who reported the Thiago stuff first, so there was some credibility. But I saw someone, apparently the actual Spanish translation said from English media, so I don't think it's even got a real source.
So the Spanish are citing the English as a source, and the English are citing the Spanish as a source, and it
And
sounds like it's
not actually real.
nonsense. Yeah, it's not a real player. But moving on from incomings, which we don't feel like are going to happen, to one that I feel might happen, maybe has some legs. Cult hero of the cop, Divock Origi, is being linked to the exit door, and there's been like links like Wolves. I think Valencia were in for him at one point. I think a few places in Italy, probably Inter because they love Premier League rejects. But the latest one is Borussia Dortmund. This one's come from Football Insider. I mean, Divock, we've said quite a few times on this pod, thanks for the memories, essentially. But I mean, since Madrid, what's he done? Really? Let's be
Yeah.
perfectly honest. Are you do you still feel the same way? I can't imagine your mood's changed on
Yeah,
him.
obviously you say yourself cult hero. I love the fella, but gave me the best night of my life. But mentality, you got to draw a line somewhere, and the line's been drawn, and Origi playing another minute would be crossing that line. I think. He's not good enough. I'm joking,
No,
but he
he's not.
isn't
He's
good
not.
enough. Anyway,
No, he's not. I
that,
think
that miss against Burnley.
I was going to say, I think for a lot of people up until that point, they were like, "Oh, well, he's just in the squad, and he's given us some good memories." And they were on this absolute dross run at Anfield, and he hits the bar against Burnley to put us 1-0 up, and everyone just kind of went, "Right, that is it now. Let's stop messing
Yeah,
about. Why are
yeah.
we playing competition winners up front?" And I don't mean
Oh,
to be so disrespectful to him, but the way he has played
it,
since that season has
the
been like
poor.
he's won a competition. Do you remember like the fall off of Sturridge in Sturridge's last season? Like, was it?
Sturridge at least had these injury problems, not to blame.
No, yeah, no, I get that, but I mean, like, I remember Sturridge's. I think it might have been his last game, and it was Huddersfield at home. I think we won 5-0, and he started. I think he hit the bar late on from like 30 yards out, but other than that, his overall play was atrocious, and that's just it's the vibes I'm getting from Origi these days. He's clear that he's just not of the level of player
He's
that we
not.
should
He's
have,
not.
even
Yeah,
as
he's
a
not the
backup.
Liverpool player. The drop off from like Firmino, Mane, Salah, Jota to Origi is poor. Even Shaqiri, I think, is comfortably
Yeah,
better than Origi.
yeah, even Shaq. But you know who would fix that? Danielle
Firmino too.
Marlin. Get Origi out,
He would.
Marlin
He
in.
would.
It'd
He
be
would.
good. But I like the one thing that I'm just astounded by is the sort of caliber of clubs that he's getting linked to. Like the latest one, like we say, is Dortmund. And you imagine this is sort of if Haaland goes situation for Dortmund.
Mm.
Which if they don't get top four, you imagine he probably will. But you're replacing him with Origi, man. What are you doing? And then even like Wolves, I don't really understand why they were linked with him, considering at the time of the link, I think they still had Jimenez was fit. And then like Inter have got Lukaku and
West Ham.
Lautaro up top. Have West Ham been linked as well?
Before they have, yeah.
Have they? Who've they got up front these days? All I've got in my head is
Antonio.
Andy Carroll. Antonio, yeah. Yeah, so even
They've got
Antonio is...
decent. Yeah.
He's what?
They've got Antonio decent, obviously, a good player.
Yeah, yeah. And even then, like the drop off to Origi is a bit mad. It just makes no sense to me. But I think for the benefit of Liverpool, I'd like to see him go. And if we can get a bit of dollar while we're at it, no harm in doing it. But we'll move on to some fan questions. So this one wasn't actually one that got submitted directly to
Fans
us.
is a bold assumption.
We've got all the fans, mate. You'd never say that if Richie was here. We need him back. But yeah, a fan question that wasn't submitted to us because it's something I saw on Twitter, and I was kind of interested on getting your take on it. So let's say we get to the Champions League final, and we've just drawn, obviously, Real and potentially Chelsea in the semis, Ghost Goal Part 2 and all that. But if we get there, if Virgil's like 50% fit, or like you can like just about get minutes from him, are you risking him in a Champions League final?
I don't think so, because I know it's Virgil different, and I guess it depends on the options. If maybe there's another centre back injury, then yeah. If Reece Williams is in a position, for example, where he's supposed to start the Champions League final, then yeah. But if we've got to the final with a comfortable pairing, then I'll trust that pairing in the final rather than risk Virgil. But I think Holland are probably just gonna. Me and you have both said it on Twitter.
But yeah, I was literally thinking after I tweeted it, I saw you said it as well. Yeah. Yeah, I said like they're gonna just like Naby Keita him, aren't they? It's got it written all over it.
Yeah.
If they think for a second that he's got any chance of playing any minute, I reckon they're just gonna ruin him, which would be devastating. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, if we've got a centre back pairing that's got us to a Champions League final, don't risk it, because if something does happen, he's out for beginning of next season or longer, then we've just shafted another season up the wall, basically. I mean, we had a few other questions that I don't really think deserve too much delving into. So one of them was Ryan Brewster, chances on him coming back. I don't think he's got a league goal this season, keep in mind. So thoughts on that one?
It's a hard one because it's easy to look at that, but he does play in that horrible Sheffield United side that don't create chances. I think it would have been better off getting a move at like Brighton or something, or whoever it was, Palace. One of those sort of teams would have been better for him, but equally, not quite out of level. Not a 40 million release qualified that level.
Is it? I can't remember if it was 30 or 40. Yeah, I agree. Like,
you can buy Rafinha for a similar price.
Oh yeah, we could, couldn't we? Yeah, based on this season, probably not. If he gets, I mean, if Sheffield United like bounce back next season, they come back up to the Premier League, which I can't see them doing, given that Wilder's just left. And then he does kick on in the Premier League if they end up coming back, then potentially. But I can't see that happening, and I can't see him staying at Sheffield United for very long. Maybe a couple seasons in the Championship with them, but I think he'd move on, and it wouldn't be to us. Yeah. No. So another one that we had, which I think we have kind of discussed, sort of similar topics to, which was if Klopp has another stinker next season. If we basically mirror this, or even worse, for starters, what would you do? Would you still keep him along until maybe like the end of his contract? And then what do you think the owners would do as well?
I think it's a bit of a sort of ridiculous hypothetical while we're down bad right now. I don't think that's even a realistic question, but we'd have to have like sort of a freak injury season yet again, and then the outside of top 4 finish with performances being on Klopp consistently for me to think about it.
Yeah.
For the owners to think about it, I think they love Klopp. They know that we've struck gold there. I
Yeah,
think
100%.
I'm happy with that, to be honest. I think Klopp's got a lot of leeway, and rightly so.
Yeah, I think if they back him properly this summer, end of this season, and then we get we get like your Gomez's, your Van Dijk's back, everyone's fully fit going into the new season, and it's still battling for top 4 form with this squad and a few extra players coming in.
With fans in the ground.
And fans, yeah.
But that's not
then there'd be question marks. But if we get an exact replica of this and we get injuries, maybe this time the front three get injured and we've got a fully fit defence, but we just can't score. Well, to be fair, we still can't score. But if we get like freak injury season, it's out of Klopp's control, and it's like fair play. Like who's even? I don't think another manager will be battling for the top 4 based on what we've had happen to us this season, let alone in a Champions League quarter final and still in the hunt for Champions League football domestically. It is a ridiculous hypothetical, like you say, and I just want to back him till the end of his contract. At which point I do think he's going to leave, which he's said something similar.
Of Klopp losing patience with them before they lose patience with Klopp.
Yeah, that'd be the risk for the owners. No, but yeah, I agree. But yeah, that's the fan questions, and like I said earlier, we've got no fact of the day, so we're moving straight on to the unpopular opinion. And as we've got no Richie, again, it's fallen on me, carrying the weight of this week's episode. And my unpopular opinion is that I would rather miss out on both the Europa League and the Europa Conference League than get Europe if we're not going to get the Champions League. Yeah, that was worded correctly, wasn't it? You know what I mean?
I do disagree. I don't know how popular and unpopular that'd be. That's actually quite an interesting one. It probably would be fairly split. Personally, from certain standpoints, you can look at it like if we're suddenly a Europa League or Conference League team, I'm thinking like I could stack up my credits and stuff and get access to games and stuff, and then the season after when we're back in the Champions League, I was going to the Europa League games. I'm qualifying for the Champions League games now. Because a lot of people fall off the ticket lists when they stop going when under Roy when in Europa League. But
yeah, that's a good point.
Also, like we said it on the pod last week, being the first conference, Europa League, I agree. But the Conference League, I would rather be in, because it'd be cool to just play a lot of random European teams.
Yeah, that'd be the only thing for me, and I'd want to win it. But if we're in it, I want to win it, because you can't be a team of Liverpool's caliber go into the Europa Conference League and not win it.
The first one ever being in it, playing a lot of random teams, never going to get that experience again. And next year, win the Champions League again.
Probably end up playing like Bohemians or something like.
Yeah, exactly.
Some daft teams like that.
Yeah, I'm done.
It would be funny, and my big thing is it, particularly with the Europa League itself, maybe not so much the Conference League, is obviously I think both are on Thursday nights anyway, so it's Thursday, Sunday football. I think with the Conference League you have more wiggle room in terms of blooding a few of the youth players. Maybe Nico Williams, I know you'd be a really big fan of that, Tommy, but I'm thinking more of the likes of Harvey Elliott could get a proper good run out, and it's you'd imagine we're getting quite far into the knockout stages of that competition, so we could get double figures under his belt in terms of appearances.
Yeah, it'd be a different trophy, and it's better. It's the Euro. The only sort of question mark I'd have is, and I'd imagine it is it played on Thursday nights or something?
I think they're both on Thursdays, the Conference League and the Europa League.
That's a bit of a game changer, but I'd rather that than the Europa League. I genuinely would.
Yeah, just because the caliber of opposition until you get into the latter stages isn't going to be. It's going to be worth throwing Van Dijk and Salah at, is it?
Not for me, my friend.
No. So yeah, I mean, if we won it, I'd take it. But in terms of just the fixture pile up, and especially the big thing for me was obviously the way that this season's gone. We look back, we had no pre-season. Everything's been crammed into such a small amount of time, as we're all aware. It's already shafted us with injuries this season. And then we've got obviously the Euros, I believe Copa America's this year as well. Again, into it this summer, or is it AFCON? I can't
I've not
remember.
got a clue. I've not got a
It's
clue.
one of them. I think AFCON's next January actually. So we'll have Copa America, Euros this summer. Then that's like obviously the core of our team, bar like Keita, Mane, and Salah, who are all going to be competing again over summer, giving them less time in pre-season again. So then go into another season where they're going to be playing.
Man.
You are?
It's ridiculous. Salah's going to have like 4 years of just non-stop playing football.
Yeah, literally. And then, so say that obviously all this happens, and then we're in the Conference League or we're in the Europa League. That's taking us up to probably pushing 50 games in a season again. And in January, we lose Keita, Salah, Mane halfway through the season. So for me, that's the big sort of issue. If we're going to win a trophy, we win a trophy, happy days. But if it's to the detriment of us getting back into the Champions League, then it's not for me. I mean, that was just my thinking of it. It's just like the kind of I can't even think of the word. For just the Conference League, the novelty of it. That's the one. Just like the novelty of being in this new competition and playing some of these funky little teams that we're never going to play again, and lifting a tidy little European trophy would be all right.
Yeah, it's like winning a League Cup, a European League Cup.
Yeah, it's like Champions League's like the Prem, like Europa League's like the FA Cup, and then it's like the energy drink cups, the Conference League.
European Cup.
It's what?
I'll tell you, and that's the thing. It'd be on a one-off season because let's face it, this was a free season.
Yeah.
But like you say, as long as it didn't derail too much for the next season, I personally still I disagree on that basis. But I do get where you're coming from.
Yeah, you understand the sentiment. I'm just looking out for the players' well-being. You're just thinking about the enjoyment from a fan's perspective of getting to put 8 goals past Nicosia or something like that. Some poor little Cypriot team.
Day in Greece or something.
Yeah, away days in bloody Azerbaijan or something. Well, to be fair, that'd be the Europa League Karabag, wouldn't it? I think they're Azerbaijan.
Yeah, I believe it's every single year. It's not good that the this Conference Cup has been a running theme in a podcast recently.
It's been what?
It's been a running theme in a podcast. The UEFA Conference.
It best not be next season.
Doing
match reviews of Conference League games where we're losing 1-0. Imagine if we played Adrian to give Alisson some time off.
Maybe Adrian might be the one leaving in the summer.
To be fair, yeah. When's his contract up? When is his contract up? Someone find out for me.
We've begun waffling like crazy, but
I don't know. Well, questions started coming up about Adrian's future, and I'm keen to find out when it ends. But we are waffling. So, I mean, let us know. Do you want Europe? Let us know in the comments. If you're on YouTube, obviously, if you're listening, you can go to the Twitter and let us know whether you'd like a little Conference League journey or whether you'd like the players to get, some time off. But that'll be it for this week. Until next time, we will be joined again by Richie. We will have the Fact of the Day segment back, and I will make my comeback beginning next week. So until then, bye-bye.